Hi, it's Andy. I am finally back to filming, and I have decided that the first video I'm going to film back is my kind of insane June TBR. So in June it is Pride Month, which means that Maddie is running her Whateverathon. This is round 2, so I will be taking part. As part of Whateverathon this year, Jade and Steph have made some amazing bookmarks from their shop Daisy and Ve, and I got the entire set. This one's upside down, so I got the entire set because why wouldn't you? They're all upside down. I'm just showing you them all upside down. So this is like the standard one, don't be a dick. That's the main rule. It's got this beautiful rainbow behind it. I've been using this one generally, so I had to go get out a book before filming. I've decided this year I will be on the Shelf Slayer team, which is hosted by Ro, Spoops, Cody and Becca, and it was basically a choice based on the prompts, and the prompts for this suited me better than the prompts from other teams, so that's how I chose that. And I'm a Patreon for Spoops and Ro, so I had to be on the team with my girls. So yeah, this month's TBR is a little bit gigantic and a little bit most likely unmanageable, but I'm not in the mood for a TBR, I'm in the mood to mood read. So what I've done is pulled the books that match the prompts, and then I will mood read from there. Now I am also going to be taking part in Marvelathon, which has been created by Lisa at Lisa Does Life, and I am excited, although I've not quite worked out the rules yet because I just can't. It's so complicated for my tiny brain, even though it's probably not that complicated. And on that, I am on Team Scarlet Witch, and I'm so excited. Again, I just had more books that followed those prompts than I did any other team, and that's how I decided on my team. So before I start going through all of the books I'm reading, this is the spread I've made for the Whateverathon. I printed all these off now that I have a printer, and this is going to be the bingo board that we're using. Purple prompts are prompts that are specific to the Shelf Slayers, and this is how you get your points. I am going to then, do a points tracker and things like that, but this is what I've got so far. I'm going to be using this bingo board to work out which prompts my books will fit into, and I'm kind of going with the trying to see as many prompts as I can fill with each book, because you can use 3 prompts per book, but I would like some overlap just in case I maybe have one that doesn't have one prompt that doesn't quite match up with everything else, and then that way I'm covered. So anyway, this is what this is here for. So yeah, without any further yabbering, I'm going to get on to showing you the books that I am planning to try and get to in June. There's about a 99% chance I will not get through all of them because I have 16 books. Actually, that's not as bad as that doesn't seem as bad as it does when you see them all stacked together. But yeah, so I will show you what I'm going to read. So the first book is The Children of Jocasta by Natalie Haynes. I read another Natalie Haynes book recently and I loved it, so I immediately decided to buy this when I saw it was available. This is Greek mythology retelling historical fiction, which is one of my favourite genres, which is one of the bingo requirements, and is also most likely somewhat queer because Greek history just kind of is. I am not 100% sure what this is even about, but since the last book was so good, and since Madeline Miller has blurbed it, yeah, I just picked it up, and I will be certainly adding that to my reading room. So prompt wise, that can fill the and of a and slot because it's The Children of Jocasta. It is also recently hauled. It is part of a favourite genre, and yeah, there are others that I could probably squeeze it into, such as Last Letter, First Letter. I don't have a particular plan for that. I will just do it when it kind of works for my TBR. The next book is The Magician by Colin Tobin. This is a World War I historical fiction. Again, World War I historical fiction, World War II historical fictions are some of my favourites, as you can probably see from behind me. This is based in Germany as well at the time, and it is a boy who, his country is at war and they are the aggressors, but to him all he wants is to go back to the Germany that was the, you know, patriot of great literature and music and beauty and not war. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. I was absolutely taken when I read the synopsis, so that was an immediate buy. Prompt wise, this will also do the an of a and. It is also recently hauled, my favourite genre, and I think it's a 2021 release, so it would also cover that. Next up is A Beautifully Foolish Endeavour by Hank Green. I need to finish this. It's a 2-book series and I've still not finished it yet. This is absolutely ridiculous. So this continues on from the first book, which was An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, and it is what happens after that book, so I don't really want to look too much into it, but yeah. I read the first book in audiobook format and I really liked it, so I may pick up the audiobook for this as well. And this will then cover, again, the an of a and. I think that would be the easiest prompt to actually fulfill. It will also work for our previous TBR because, like I say, I've been meaning to read this book for a while. Different format if I read it via the audiobook. Continue series, which I think is the only book I have that will continue a series because the rest of them are standalones. Oh, actually no, I do have one other series, so that's fine. And less read genre, it's science fiction. I don't read science fiction. This was a sort of weird one-off-ish book. Next up is Regeneration by Pat Barker. I also have another Pat Barker book. I don't think it's on this TBR, but I picked it up because this is a World War I historical fiction and it's based in Scotland, and I'm really enjoying seeing things based in Scotland recently because, as you can tell, I'm from Scotland. So this again will fulfill quite a few prompts. So again, recently hauled, favourite genre, historical fiction, one word title, and I think it's also a 2021 release. Yeah, so it'll cover quite a few. The next book is A Witch in Time by Sears. This is pretty much one I picked up on a whim. The tagline says, 4 lives, 1 woman, a star-crossed love. So it says, bound to her lover in 1895 and trapped by his side ever since, Helen has lived through multiple lifetimes under different names, never escaping her tragic endings. Only this time she might finally have the power to break the cycle. That's all I needed. That's all I needed. It sounds amazing and I'm so excited. Anyway, so again, this covers the and of a and. Again, recently hauled because a lot of the books I'm reading right now are recently hauled. Favourite genre, historical fiction because 1895 is when it starts. Yeah, and there's some other ones like poll. I could put it in a poll and if it wins I can do that. Last letter, first letter, things like that I can add to. The next book is When Paris Slept by Ruth Druart. This again was picked up on a whim. It is a World War II historical fiction which then goes into Santa Cruz in 1953. I read a book like this recently. I believe it was The Storyteller of Casablanca and I really liked it, so I thought I'd pick this up because it seems like something I might enjoy. It is again World War II historical fiction. A woman who is put on a train to Auschwitz, and obviously that changes her entire future, but I believe she survived or somebody survived or something happens that it just sounds really interesting. A mother whispers goodbye to her child is the end but also the beginning, so yeah, it seems really interesting. Unfortunately not so floppy, but yeah. So for the prompts, I'm not sure how many this will actually do. It's recently hauled, favourite genre, that's about it unless I can squeeze it into something else, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Next up is Deliberation by Kate Furnivall. I really enjoyed the last Kate Furnivall book that I read, which was The Betrayal, I believe. It's somewhere on here, I don't know where it is. But yeah, I believe it was The Betrayal. and I really liked it, and I really liked the way she wrote about World War II. And again, this is a World War II historical fiction, this time in Italy, so that just seems really interesting because I've not read a World War II historical fiction from Italy yet, so I'm looking forward to reading that. Prompt wise, we are looking at The End of a And. It's also recently hauled. Favourite genre, it's covering quite a lot. Next up is The Poison Heart by Colin Barron. I read Cinderella's Dead by Colin Barron and I liked it. It was my favourite, I liked it, so I just had to pick this up mainly for the spine, which is terrible. But it seems really interesting, and I'll be honest, I've not looked into it that much, but I believe it's about a poison garden that's controlled by this character, and it got recommended as something that would be good to read to Marvelathon, which I'll go over afterwards. And yeah, I am quite excited to get to this. I really liked her writing style, so hopefully this one's just a little bit better than Cinderella's Dead, considering it's her second book. Again, The End of a And, recently hauled. Less read, also fits less read genre because I don't think I read fantasy that much. Yeah, probably fits into others as well. Next up is The Familiars by Stacy. This I bought ages ago. I bought during lockdown and I've still not read it yet, which is terrible. Again, historical fiction about witches, from 1612 onwards. Don't really know much more than that. It just seems like the kind of thing I would really like. Again, it covers the and of and prompt. It is favourite genre, and weapon on the cover is actually a noose. I've completely forgotten about weapon on the cover, so there are also a few in there that will fit it. Hybrid genre, it is speculative historical. I'm taking it. Yeah, and there's probably others that I can use it for. Next up is Cunning Women by Elizabeth Lee. Again, witchy book, historical fiction, the witch trials but in the UK sort of thing. Just seems really interesting. Again, weapon on the cover. I don't know if you can see, but there is a knife there, a dagger. It also recently hauled. Favourite genre, 2021 release. So yeah. It could also work for maybe spooky book. Dark, bewitching, captivating. So maybe. And that was blurred by Jennifer Saint, which is I think why I picked it up, because again, I love Jennifer Saint's books. Next up is The Banning Tree Witches. I actually started this before and just was not in the mood to read it. This again is back 1643, England, puritanical, fever has gripped the nation. In Manning Tree, depleted of men since the Civil War began, the women are left to their own devices. So it's, from what I've read so far, I didn't get that far into it, but I believe this is based on real people who did actually live during this time, and the woman was accused of witchcraft, which I find really interesting in a historical context. So I'm really interested to read this. I have not seen any reviews about most of these books, so that's really, like, I don't know, it just seems my kind of thing. But that will also do The End of And. It's under 300 pages. It is on a previous TBR. Favourite genre. Can I count it for hybrid genre if it's like historical fiction but it's also part autobiography? Does that work? Maybe. And there's probably others I can use it for as well. I'm doing terribly at this video, I tell you. Next is The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. This is a horror, I believe, historical fiction about witches, and I've heard great things about it, but I don't actually know exactly what it's about. I do know that Jessie from Bow Ties and Books really liked it, and it seems like my kind of thing, so I thought I would give it a chance. I'm really excited to read it, and I think it's a beautiful book. This will cover, again, a few of the prompts. Borrow a book, so I'm borrowing it from Jessie's TBR. That and of a and a. I don't know if it's under 300 pages. No, it's over 300 pages. And favourite genre, lesser genre because again I don't read horror. The next book is The Wailing Woman by Mary Lewis. This is a continuation of a series that I was reading. Mary Lewis is Maori and Scottish, and her first books that I was reading are based between Dundee and New Zealand and Germany, and I just found them really, really interesting when I read them years ago, so I decided to buy them and read them again, and then found out that it continued. So this is from another perspective, from another character that you're introduced to, who is a banshee, the Wailing Woman, and I'm just really, really interested to read this. But this book is about Sadie, who is a banshee, and there's also a prophecy about her and about the babies that she's carrying, which puts her life in danger. But it's obviously not as simple as it seems. This is a world where werewolves exist. There is a whole lot going on, and it's a continuation of a series, so there's not really much I can say about it. So that also gets the and of and prompt. Again, it's recently hauled. It actually doesn't cover much, so there's a few that I could probably work out. Can I use it for weapon on the cover if her weapon is her voice? And that's quite clearly, you know, depicts her using her voice. I'm gonna take it. Next up is a book that I am really excited to read, and that is Gallant by Ve Schwab. This book I managed to get the last copy they had in the Waterstones. This was in the window and they had forgotten about it, and the bookseller that I was chatting to when I picked up my regular copy, I had said about how disappointed I was to have missed the sprayed edges and the signed edition, because this is the signed Waterstones edition, and she was like, oh wait, I think I have one more. And this was months after it had been released. But yeah, so she went to the window and found it and pulled it for me. So I'm so excited to read this, and it holds a special place in my heart now just because of that. Gallant is about our main character, whose name I cannot remember, Olivia Pryor, who is sent a letter about her family's estate, Gallant, by her uncle, and by the time she gets there I think he's already dead. And yeah, she discovers that the letter was years later, uncle's dead and the estate is empty save for her cousin Matthew and the servants. She's allowed to stay, but she has to follow 2 rules: don't go out after dusk and stay on this side of the wall. So yeah, this is one of the ones where I've heard so many people talking about it and I can't take in the details. But yeah, so I'm excited about this. This does have quite a few, so again, borrow a book. It was on my friend Tori's TBR, and we'll also be, I think, are we buddy reading it? I'm not sure. I think I'm buddy reading it with someone, but I can't remember who. I might be Tori, but I'm not sure. Also does one word title. It does on previous TBR because it was on last month's TBR, and then Tori was like, but why don't you read it for next month? It's also a host fave, and it is it hybrid genre? Maybe a hybrid genre? I'm not quite sure. I'm excited to get into it. But 2 more books. 2 more books to go through. 2 more books and we're done. First book is Elektra by Jennifer Saint. Again, I love Jennifer Saint's writing. I love her books. So this was an auto-buy, signed by her. So excited. Upset that it doesn't have sprayed edges of some kind, because that green on a sprayed edge. Are you kidding me? So yeah, this is, again, what I'm not quite sure about what it's about. It's the story of Elektra. Greek mythology. That's all I needed to know. Jennifer Saint wrote it. I'm there. So yeah, this will also cover quite a few of the prompts. So we've got one word title, weapon on the cover, favourite genre, 2022 release I think, so yeah, it's 2022 release, it doesn't count for that one. And there's other ways that I can, you know, make up spaces if I don't manage to get enough, because I need 3 per book. The next book is one I've been waiting to get to for ages, and that is Leviathan by Rosie, and this is the one with the most amazing sprayed edges. I don't think it's signed. Is it signed? It's signed. It's a signed booklet, but it's signed. And this is again historical fiction, Norfolk, 1643, during the Civil War in England, and I believe that the main character Thomas comes back and his sister is accused of witchcraft, and there's this boat called the Leviathan that holds answers. Sounds really interesting to cover by for the sprayed edges, plus the fact that the story sounds interesting. So again, this will cover the and prompt. It is been on a previous TBR that I've then not read, obviously. It is favourite genre because it is a historical fiction. I think this might have been on 2021 release, let me see. No, 2022. Must have just been early 2022. But yeah, so that's how that will cover my TBR. Cover my prompts for my TBR. So yeah, that's my TBR, and that is how I am planning on kind of working around the Whateverathon prompts. Now, I also said I was taking part in Marvelathon and that I was on Team Scarlet Witch. So there are prompts for Marvelathon, general prompts for everybody, and I have not really looked into them because I'm an idiot and I can't read spreadsheets. So I will work them into it as I do my TBR, as I read through the month. However, there are 3 different things that are specific to Scarlet Witch. 1 is red on the cover, as you can imagine. 2 is a witchy book, and 3 is a book about heartbreak. Now, if you remember my TBR that we've just gone over, I've got plenty of that. Shall we just do a quick roundup? So, going kind of backwards all over the place. Witch, possibly, but also heartbreak. Red on the cover. Kind of witch, but also heartbreak. Red on the cover, also witch. Red on the cover, but also witch. Red on the cover, this is red, this is orange. This is absolutely red. I'm taking it. Heartbreak, because this is the, well, it would be a spoiler, but heartbreak. World War I, Germany, hello heartbreak. Children of Jocasta, this is the one that doesn't really fit in, I think. Possibly witchy, but I'm not sure. But I really want to read it, so it's happening. And this is orange, so I'm not counting it. Auschwitz, heartbreak. World War I, heartbreak, and this is also red on the cover. A Witch in Time, heartbreak, but also witches. The Poison Heart, witches, and that's a red top she's wearing. Cunning Woman, witches, red on the cover. The Familiars, witches, and heartbreak. Deliberation, again, World War II, heartbreak. There's no red on the cover and there is no witches, but I still want to read it. So yeah, that is my TBR for June. It is quite large. I don't know if I can hold it up. I will try. So this is my TBR for June. Yeah, that was a fail. But yeah, you see what I mean? It's a lot of books. And I'm just scared to hammer. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'm going to be trying to upload more and do more videos, so please subscribe, hit the like button, comment, chat to me. If there's anything in there you think I'm going to really like, or anything that you think would go alongside my TBR, then please feel free to comment down below. I will be trying my best to get through all of these next month, but I don't know if I'll manage it or not. So cross your fingers for me and hope for the best. But yeah, I will see you in another video. Bye!